Welcome back. We're here at the Hive. We had a little technical difficulty, so welcome, bees, to the Hive and Merry Christmas. And today we have a guest on the Beehive, a legendary guest, and he was a very famous Speedway rider. And he represented the United States in the best pairs and team racing. He was an amazing British League rider. He raced for three British League teams, the Hull Vikings, the Ipswich Witches, and the Wolverhampton Wolves. And he was a team captain on the Ipswich Witches. And he placed third on the podium in the 1982 World Championship. And we're going to introduce the famous Siggy, Dennis Sigalos. Hey, Dennis.
How you doing, Brian?
Hey, good to see you, bro. How you been?
I've been really well, just hanging in there and kind of living life and getting older, but it's all good.
You're looking good, dude. You're looking
Well,
good.
it's all that good eating.
Oh, yeah, and lots of good loving, too.
Yeah, you got it.
Thanks. Hey, thanks, Dennis, for joining us tonight at the Hive. And let's just go back at the beginning, like in your days with Bruce Penhall. Like, how did you meet Bruce Penhall?
Well, Bruce and I grew up as kids, and actually our families, well, my dad and Leroy Penhall, Bruce's dad, they used to race boats together way back in the 60s. So that's where the families got together originally. And we'd see each other at the boat races, at Marine Stadium, and what have you. But Bruce is a couple years older than me, and they lived down at the beach, and we lived up in Fullerton. And did I lose you?
No, I got you.
Oh, okay. My picture just went bigger. So
Oh,
anyways,
okay.
yeah, that's kind of where it all started. And then as we grew up and grew older, and families were always together as friends and going, Halloween parties and different parties here and there at the Peace House and up at our house in Fullerton. And, Bruce and I came pretty close. And then obviously with the accident with my mom and the Peace parents and the Nobles, it really drew us closer, if you will. We were both riding mini bikes and motorcycles up at Saddleback Park before that anyways. And so, we got together quite a bit during those days. But,
Oh,
Bruce is, over the years has turned into a brother from another mother, if you will. And also the same with his brother, JP, Jerry. So, we're all real close knit. And Connie and, the sister and, the Cherries, Mark and Carrie and Jerry. I mean, we're all just like a bunch of peas in the pod and love to be around each other.
that's awesome. You guys are awesome. I bet you guys were fun to be with when you were kids.
Well, we sure, played hard. That's for sure. We were really fortunate, in some aspect as far as being able to ride and race motorcycles. And where we lived up in the hills in Fullerton, we had the Union oil fields right basically out our back door. So, we used to go riding all the time after school. I had a Hodaka back then, or, a Powell mini bike, a Honda 70 way back in there, back in those days, ride through the lots and through the hills and in the oil fields and have the cops chase us out. And, but it was always, good, clean fun, if you will. We weren't troublemakers, that's for sure, but we were just loved riding and riding our bicycles, our Stingrays with the, cut down handlebars and the back tire all worn out on one side. So, a lot of fun as growing up as kids.
What was the craziest thing that you and Bruce did together? I mean, I could picture you guys doing like putting some sand from the beach down on the pavement on the sidewalk and then doing power slides, on those little handlebar bicycles when you were kids.
Yeah,
Did
well,
you do that stuff?
I'll tell you a story, and it was a little crazy, but it included Bruce, myself, Jerry, his brother, Jurgen Goldstein from he was BP's German mechanic. He was over, and JP had Old Bucky, which is a all fixed up Baja bug that he used to pre-run for the Baja 1000 and all the different off-road races he did. So I had my my dad's Blazer actually, and so we were kind of lit up a little bit, and we ended up going down on Balboa because Bruce lived down there and on the peninsula, and we drove from the Balboa Pier all the way to the Wedge on the sand. And Bruce and JP were down by the water's edge and Old Bucky down there, and we were hitting the dunes, and Jurgen was in the back, and the snow chains were in a milk crate in the back of the Bronco, and Jurgen was laughing, and the chains were crashing all over him and cutting him up, and then we hauled Buns back to his house and put the cars in the garage, closed the door, and then all of a sudden you hear the cops in the alley and the helicopters flying around, but they didn't get us this time.
Oh, you guys were crazy back then. I always picture you guys. I did a blog and I said, oh, I bet Dennis and Bruce were like riding on the pier on the boardwalk and running little old ladies over on a Speedway a bicycle. And then those ladies are laying on the ground and they're like, sorry, lady, we're future Speedway champions and we're just practicing our craft for the future, little kids, and then right away.
Yeah, to see what it looks like when someone else crashes, right?
Yeah, it's nice to crash other people.
We preferred to stay upright and on two wheels and out in the dirt and good clean fun, man.
I can picture you and Bruce doing that. So, because I was doing that too at the same time you were doing that. I had a little Speedway bicycle and we were racing Speedway bikes and going crazy and everything. So we were all kind of like doing the same things at the same time.
You bet. Well, once you got the taste of Speedway, it was all over, then all of a sudden, as you grow up and it becomes your passion and the sport that you want to, do for, maybe not a lifetime, but, try to get a lot accomplished. And, I don't know that, being, I'm not a famous guy or anything, but, getting a little notoriety, it really kind of pumps you up and makes you feel good and makes you work harder and, try different things and, try to hone in your skills on your sport.
Exactly. No, you guys did a great job. You and Bruce were awesome. I mean, totally legends. Now, your dad owned the Orange County Food Service, and he had, like you mentioned, he had some land in Fullerton by the oil mining facilities, and he built a little Speedway track for you and Bruce. How did that all happen?
Well, that's right, he did, and that was at Orange County Food Service in Anaheim. The company had 10 acres there, and part of it, a few acres, wasn't being utilized for a parking lot. So actually my dad and, I think Bruce and I probably instigated the whole thing. And, my dad and Leroy were definitely keen on, doing things right. And, hey, if you want to really do this, let's, get stuck into it. But you guys are going to take care of it and build it and keep it up and all this stuff. So my dad kind of had an old 1-ton Chevy pickup catering truck chassis, and Leroy, being in the concrete business, sawing and demo work with Pennell Company, he had an old big huge water tank that we strapped on the back of that thing, ran some PVC pipe off the back of it with an on and off valve so we could water the track. Now we also had if anyone remembers George Wynn, George and Frida Wynn. I mean, my God, if you don't know them, you missed out. There are a couple of characters
from England, the British mechanic. He was a good mechanic.
Yeah, old Georgie was one of a kind, and Frida was right there as well. You go over to their house, you always got to start off with a cup of tea, sit and shoot the shit for a little bit, but it was all good. And I know Ivan had huge upbringing by them, especially when Ivan was over here and what have you. And I think George even built the gold bike for Ivan. But anyways, George built the starting gates for Costa Mesa Speedway, and we knew that, so we asked George to build us a set. So we got a set for our track, and we got a generator from our maintenance truck at Orange County Food Service. We parked all the stuff out there, and we made plywood walls to keep the DG on the track. We water it and ride on it and practice on it, and then, you know, grade it and water it and practice on it all day long. And, you know, just the whole weekend would be spent down there just trying to get better and figure out things.
Oh, that's the way to do it, the seat time. Now,
It
Bruce
really
was
was.
saying, what's that?
I said it really was, and we were so fortunate to be able to do that, and you know, kind of our private little test track, if you will. And I think it definitely helped us for sure.
Oh, no doubt. That seat time was invaluable. I was watching an interview with Bruce, and he was mentioning that you guys had like a little mini Speedway bike before they actually made mini Speedway, because we're pretty old guys. And before they invented water, we were riding Speedway, and they didn't have the junior Speedway bikes. And Bruce was mentioning that you guys built like a Speedway bike with a little two-stroke McCullough chainsaw engine. Is that true? Like, I could picture you guys going.
Absolutely. We actually didn't build it. A man by the name of Ed Schaefer had a company called Speedway Research, and Ed really helped out. You know, kind of sponsored and did motors for Rick Woods, as I recall, and a few others. You know, I was pretty young and dumb and I don't recall all their names, but he was the one that built the very first one. And yes, in fact, it did have a 101 McCullough chainsaw motor in it, and it had a centrifugal clutch on it, a little short exhaust pipe that used to just burn the shit out of your foot. But you know, you had the Speedway bike look, you know, a little skinny front tire and a bigger rear tire that was a little smaller than the front wheel. And it used to, man, I don't know if you've ever ridden driven a go-kart with a McCullough chainsaw. They go like scalded rats, man. And these things are high RPM, and they ran really good. And so I had one, Bruce had one, and then later on, maybe a year or so later, a good friend of Bruce and I both, Jay Giannetti, you might remember Jay, he raced for a few years down around. He had one as well. And so we used to all get hooked up and go to Saddleback, and then, you know, go to our track, you know, down the road. I can't recall if we had them when we had our practice track, but I remember going to Saddleback quite a bit. And I think even Kelly and Sean Moran, that's where we met them. They were riding more Little Indians though. And in fact, Sean McConnell too. He was riding on the Lightning Larry Shaw little mini bike Speedway team, but there again, they had little like mini bikes. We were the ones that kind of started that craze, if you will, with the we call them mini Speedway. They call them junior Speedway, and you know, I mean, it is what it is. But it you know, it's way faster than a Stingray, that's for sure.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I used to race minis at the Saddleback, and I used to always see the Morans there with their Indians and their green and white leather with clovers all over them. And I said,
absolutely.
Cool.
Yep, absolutely. And even we saw, well, I know Jeff Ward a little bit, but we used to see him race around the Trail 50, and that's what Bruce had as well. So Bruce probably raced against him. I had a Powell and a couple different Powells, a 3.5 horsepower and a 5 horsepower. And then I stepped up to I think it was a CT70. And that's when I hit the big time, man. Straight pipe and a bigger carburetor.
You're styling, dude.
Yeah, it's all good, all good.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember Ed Schaefer. I used to, when I first started Speedway, I went to his shop before he passed away. And I knocked on the door. I was like a little D3 rider, and he opened the door and says, "Who are you?" And I said, "Hi, Ed. You don't know me.
Big tall. Yeah, that's fantastic. He was a good guy. He had a lot of input over the years in Speedway. He even made his own engine too. At one time, I don't think it took off very well, but you know, he definitely gave her a try.
He was a smart man. That guy was genius.
He was. Yeah, absolutely.
Good. He was good. I'm going to change the topic a little bit here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my childhood relating to you. And I never told you this. Okay. Well, I was sitting home one day. I was like a paper boy saving my money for a Speedway bike. I worked for like 3 years because my mom didn't like motorcycles and I had to earn my own Speedway bike or I would never race. So I'm delivering paper.
Sure.
So I'm reading the paper, the Register, the Orange County Register. Do you know the Orange County Register?
Sure, the paper of all papers.
That's the paper in Orange County. Okay.
Yep.
I'm sitting there like one Sunday, let's say it was Wednesday afternoon after I deliver my papers, and I'm reading the sports page because I like reading sports. And I read this article, and there's this picture, and it's a picture of you when you were 14 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's it.
You remember that?
Maybe, yeah, OCIR or even Costa Mesa. It was OCIR if I was that young, probably 13.
This is the original paper clip that I saved it, and I was really mad because I was 14 and you were 14 and you were racing Speedway.
And you were.
I was mad. I saved this.
Let me show you something since you got that photo up. This is one of my favorite photos from back in the day.
Oh.
That was my first
nice.
win. And my first trophy girl, if you look, she doesn't have her shoes on. She had to take her shoes off because she was too tall. Imagine that, huh?
Wow. Wow. You are good, man. And it says like the whiz, they called you the whiz kid. Like Dennis Sigalos was the whiz kid. And it says 13-year-old, but I think you're like 14, but 13-year-old Dennis Sigalos in 1973. That's pretty old. And of Fullerton made a believer of the fans and riding alike as his riding in his initial Orange County International Raceway Speedway motorcycle program last night. He will be back for another try. That's probably won the main that second try.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I remember I had to ride there because of my age. You had to be 16 to get an AMA license and to be allowed to race at Costa Mesa. So, that's where, I got on the big bike after, and I was still on the junior speedway then too. We were doing some little halftime entertainment at Costa Mesa if we could get it, if Harry would let us, or actually if Frida would let us, Frida win. She ran the show more than Harry did.
She was boss.
Yeah.
She was.
So, but I raced there. I think, I can't remember what day of the week it was, but my dad would drive me down. I think my cousin was crewing for me, Doug Kavanaugh. He was crewing for me, and we didn't know anything, man, but we knew, or I knew it was good fun, and I wanted to get out there and do it. So, there again, well, I have a few races or whatever, then you get to go watch the drag races because you walk up a little hill, and they had some super comp and some bracket racing cars are always running on that same night. So, I could take in two events. It was kind of cool.
OCIR was the best.
Yeah.
It was cool. I was going to ask you a question. When you guys were racing, going back to when you were racing as little kids, you and Bruce raced with the tapes. You obviously raced Bruce Penhall probably 1,000 times. Who won those races between you and Bruce?
Oh, he probably did. I don't know that we ever, we didn't really race, but we probably, got in there and got stuck in and got close to one another. And I can't recall any come to blows or anything, no one knocking each other off. It was always a laugh, Yeah, we were working hard at what we were doing, but you know what? Best of buddies and still are. And we were just trying to, I don't even know at that point, we were trying to make a career out of it. It was a hobby at that point and something that, we both wanted to do. And, I wanted to be Ivan Major. That was my guy. I got introduced to him at Costa Mesa when I think the U.S. versus the world came. And, I wanted to be like Ivan, and it's just crazy how it all turned out that I raced with Ivan as a teammate at my first year at Hull. So that was one of my deciding factors why I went to Hull in the first place, was because I wanted to be like Ivan.
Oh, no doubt. Ivan was the best. I have a Speedway program here from 1970s. And do you remember this Speedway program?
Oh, yeah, Wild Bill.
Wild Bill and Rick Woods.
Is that Woods behind him? Yeah, huh?
That's the Rocket.
You know what,
and
dude? I've got a whole bunch of old programs like that. I just got them buried, though.
It says my first Speedway race right there. And
Is that
as
right?
I open up the first Speedway race, I open up the program, and it's in this was August 22nd, heat 11. And if you look at heat 11 here, let's see if we can look at heat 11 down at the bottom. It says Dennis Sigalos.
It does.
3rd division.
On the 10.
And then Brian at the 0-yard line. You're on the 10-yard line. Dennis Sigalos in 3rd division.
Yeah, and you know what? That was probably, it might have been my very first race, because my birthday's on August 16th, and I had to be 16 to be able to race.
Well, this is August 20. Oh, it's ripped a little bit here. August 22nd.
So I'll bet you it was the second Friday night then, because I didn't start on the 10-yard line, I'm sure. It's probably the second week. I think I only stayed in 3rd for maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then a week later, on the 28th, 6 days later, I should say, you were on this program too in heat number 5, I believe. Yeah, heat 5 at Irwindale. Do you remember riding Irwindale?
Oh, yeah. I loved Irwindale, man. It was a bigger track.
Oh, it was, I bet. And then on heat 5, you were in heat 5, just only 6 days later. Let's say heat 5. Yeah, there's 5. There's Dennis on the 10-yard line again.
Yeah.
And there's me on the 0-yard line.
And I'll bet you it wasn't too much longer before you got put on the 10 too, brother.
It was, I practiced at OCIR one time. I took my Speedway test. I didn't have any Speedway gloves. I didn't have any uniform. I just went out cold turkey the first time, second time in a race, and I got blown away.
Nice. And, at least you're out there doing it, right? Loving it.
Yeah. I just said, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to lose, but I'm going to be out there and I'm going to just try. I want to wave to the fans. But I have to tell you the story when we raced our first time at Costa Mesa. This time here, the first race. I saw you and you had these beautiful white leathers with orange on them, and you looked like $1 million. Remember that?
Right. Yes.
And
we all had those.
And you had it was all white with the orange, and you looked really good, man. You looked awesome. And I had this old pair of ripped leathers from Ron Taylor. I went up to Silverado Canyon and bought this, and they didn't fit me, and I had to squeeze in it because I'm a big guy. I squeezed, and I'm like, ooh, and I put duct tape on my name, my front, like Brian, with silver duct tape. And I look over to Dennis Sigalos, and he has these beautiful Bates leathers, white with orange. He looked like $1 million, and me, I look like a scab.
And you know what? I cherish those things. You always cherish when you get a good set.
Oh. It was funny because you look so good, and I look so horrible. And
well, I was lucky. I was fortunate. Santa Claus was good.
You had a good backing. And I have to tell you one story. I never told you this, that when we raced the first time, and I have a video right here. I should be loaded. This is a CD, and I have it actually on video, so I can prove it. But we raced together, not only the program, but I have our video. I'll send it to you sometime.
No way.
And I swear to God, I have Dennis Sigalos in one of his first D3 races on that DVD. It says it's a home movie.
Wow, how
And
bitchin' is that? Yeah, make sure you send me a copy of that. I'd love to watch it.
yeah, I'll upload it on my YouTube and then I'll send you the link. And
Okay.
it's cool.
All right. You know
I
how I
don't
am.
have the whole race.
You know
Huh?
how I am with links and all that shit, right? That's
Yeah.
why I'm late getting on.
Well, you know, when I raced you the first time, I didn't even know how to ride, and you were like a D1 rider, like in D3, you were like really good, and I was really crappy. I mean, I was like only 2 weeks on a bike, and I had a 22-inch tire on a JP. I didn't know what I was doing, you know, I didn't know.
Right.
And I said to myself, now I knew I was a racer, but when I looked at you and I said, I got kind of mad because you looked really good and I looked really crappy. And I said to myself, and this is my racer mentality. I said, I'm going to beat Dennis Sigalos. I'm
Right.
going to beat him.
Attaboy, that's the way to do it. That's the way to think always.
I remember your picture on the paper, and I said, oh no, it's Dennis Sigalos.
Yeah.
Oh crap. But in my mind, I said, I don't care. I'm better than Dennis.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was at the zero.
Make the start and make the bike really wide.
Yeah, we went I have the video, like I say, and I went into turn one in first place because I was at the zero, right?
Right.
And
Right.
you know, I was in first place. And then I was coming out of turn two at Costa Mesa, and all I could think of is like, I'm beating Dennis Sigalos. I'm beating Dennis Sigalos. I'm beating your ass.
Getting those
And
white
then
letters all dirty.
and then all of a sudden, Dennis Sigalos went, "Whoa!" You blew me away, dude.
Around the outside, huh?
Outside, you blew me away. And you were gone. You're gone.
Dude,
So,
I love the outside. Much prefer the outside to the inside any day.
you flew by the outside so fast. You got all that dirt at Costa Mesa, and you were gone. You were
Right.
out
Yeah.
of here.
Yeah, back in the day with the 22s, for sure.
Did you ride the 22?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we all did. That's what that. And then all of a sudden, with the Carlisle came out, the big wide Carlisle, big fatty thing, and that was that there with the all of a sudden now it's Blue Groove, but that's just the way things kind of you know came to be after time. I mean, people figure it out, and hey, the inside's going to be real slick and Blue Groove. Let's put this Lily on, and you go the shortest distance instead of the 22 with the knobbies on it and go or fly around the outside the long way around. But it's actually more fun to be on the outside.
Oh yeah, Costa Mesa had a lot of dirt and it was great on the outside. It was awesome if you didn't go over the wall. It was great.
Yeah, right, for sure. I slid down the wall one time in San Bernardino and I got a big. I got back in the pits and I felt a little pain right here in my chest, and I actually slid. I went on top of the wall with my chest and I was sliding down as I was crashing. Okay. And so I got back into the pits and like, Jesus, what's going on here? I had the biggest freaking splinter from that 2x6 on the top of the wall. And I swear it was probably 3-4 inches long, and it went all the way through my leathers and just grazed right in the middle of my chest. I'm lucky it didn't go right in my heart.
Oh,
I back and went, holy Jesus, wow.
What did they do? Pull it out with the tweezers or something?
Yeah, but it wasn't in my skin. It just grazed my skin, but it was all through my leather. It was like sideways because I was sliding sideways.
Oh, God.
So good thing.
That's crazy. Hey, you met your high school sweetheart, Deborah, I think her name was, Deborah.
Yeah.
And I saw your picture. You guys had like a 40 or 50-year anniversary recently, and you guys look great. And so you met her in high school, and then she went with you when you raced over in England, and then you're still with Deborah till now. And what's your secret, dude?
Well, be fun. Don't be an asshole. Be easygoing, and I love her dearly. I mean, she's been a big, big part of my life. Pretty much since I was 15 and a half, 16 years old, man. And,
That's
you know, I even had it written in my contract that, you know, if she didn't come over with me in England, if they weren't going to pay for her to come over, then I wasn't coming. So they said, no problem, bring her over. And that's the rest is kind of history. But, you know, everyone goes through some ups and some downs, but I would mostly say a lot of it was good times and, you know, a lot of love and, you know, being away from home. Here in California, and being all the way over there, you know, we grew close together. And then, you know, my best buddy and my mechanic, Kevin Hart, he came over, I think, my second year for Hull, because I got figuring, man, this is really hard to wash the bikes and to drive all night and day. And especially from Hull, it was a long ways to get anywhere. And then, you know, he's like part of the family and still is. I mean, Kevin was also Bruce and I's crew chief and head mechanic for our boat racing careers. And I know Kevin crewed or was Bruce's mechanic, maybe at a national at Costa Mesa one time. And, you know, we still all hang out together. So, I mean, that's how deep the family runs. And Deb and Lori P, you know, are best of friends. So, you know, I mean, it all helps when you have like BP and Lori and myself and Deb, and there's a few others out there that have been grown up in racing. Carrie and Jerry Penhall, also growing up with the off-road racing. You know, we're pretty tight and pretty close knit, and we kind of know how each other operates. We know we need to give each other a little space, and they all know the boys will be the boys, and we're never going to be 100% safe.
You guys
and
are
then
crazy.
with the kids coming, and then the kids coming along, you know, it was unbelievable. Because they got to grow up together, and you know, we're down there every weekend at their house in Nelligale Ranch and playing Pictionary. When the kids were in this room, we were all in this room drinking beers and rum and cokes and yipping it up, and the kids were always having a good time doing what they're doing. And likewise, when they came down to our place here, kids hang
awesome.
in the pool and run around and rip around. We let them have free reign because they were good kids, and we were easygoing people and just like to have a good time. But you know what? We had some discipline as well, like everyone does or should, anyways. You don't want to let them run around like wild banshees all the time.
Well, if they were anything like you and Bruce, they probably needed to be disciplined.
Well, my son is kind of like me. Yes. Yeah. Actually, he's probably not quite as bad as I am. I've told him some war stories, but yeah, good. Bruce and I got into some mischief. We got into some trouble, and yes, we did. The law was never involved though, so that was a good thing. We just always have lived life to the fullest and really have enjoyed ourselves and have been able to enjoy ourselves.
Oh, you guys are great. Changing the subject, I got an email yesterday from some guy, a nice guy, one of our subscribers. I shouldn't say it like that, but
right.
He was one of your classmates, I guess, in high school. I guess your high school, and he told me this story, and he asked me to ask you about it. So I said, okay, you'll ask. He said that you rode Speedway at the high school track when you were like in high school. You brought your van, and then you brought your beautiful white and orange leathers. You're perfect. I'm still jealous of you to this day. I'm very jealous of you, Siggy. And then I guess you rode a couple laps around the quarter-mile track at the high school. And then I guess before the principal came, you loaded the bike up in your van and you took off. What happened?
Well, that's exactly right. Exactly right. And it was actually myself and Jay Giannetti, also went to Troy High School up in Fullerton. And he had the junior Speedway bike still, and I don't know if it was a 2-valve or if it was the Neal Street. So yes, we pulled up in my van, backed her up to this other part of the parking lot that kind of wasn't connected to the school, but there was a hole in the fence. So we got all suited up, and actually there was track practice going on, running and hurdles and all the stuff going on. So Jay and I came through the fence and pushed off and bumped her off, and off we went. The only we had real high gearing. We had like Costa Mesa gearing on though. That was the only bummer. We really couldn't get with it, like we wanted to, but we didn't know any better, and we thought it was just bitching to do it. So yeah, we ran, I don't know, 3 or 4 laps, and I remember having the coach of the track and field team picked up a hurdle, and as I was coming down the straight, he hucked it at me, and I ducked down like that and over my head. And then I knew then, okay, we better get off the track and go. So there again, we went through the hole in the fence on the way out, loaded into my van, and my van has a big Sigalos and Hart Speedway team on the back of it. Plus, I was the only guy there that's got a tan colored Dodge Maxi van with a big. Okay,
I got you.
Colin. And so they figured out real quick who it was. So the next day into the principal's office, and then that day I had to stay after school, and I had to drag the track. I had to pick up hurdles. I had to pay my dues a little bit, but I got it. I chopped that one up, man.
I did that too.
I think actually Bruce and Mike Caruso did the same thing at Newport Harbor. But I believe theirs was kind of a sanctioned event, if you will, that everyone knew about it. We just kind of jumped on and went, and got it done and hauled ass.
That's classic. I love it.
Yeah, fun.
I mean, if you're a speedway rider, you gotta take your bike for a spin,
That's right. Yeah, we need to warm it up or something. We had to test out. We knew we were too low on gearing after that for like a long track.
I could see you guys with like a 74 on the back and a 1574, and you're going like 2 miles an hour,
Ah! Dude, we were wringing their necks, man. We were wringing the neck, Yeah, absolutely. We didn't know any way but wide open, so that's what we got.
Oh, that's too great. Well, I know you could slide in the turns with that gearing.
Yeah, sure.
You could get it crossed up a little bit.
Who was the guy that the classmate of mine that remembered that? I wonder. Do you know his name?
I'll look him up. He emailed me. I'll go ahead and let you know. I should have said his name. I apologize if you're watching. I really feel sorry.
No worries.
He shocked me because he gave me some information on you, like hint, 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 hint.
Oh, right.
But I'll get his name for you. Don't worry.
Yeah,
he's your classmate.
Cool. That'd be cool.
And
old Instagram.
I didn't know that until he emailed me, and I was like, I will ask Dennis.
I absolutely remember the time for sure, and I'm sure quite a few people remember it as well.
That is cool stuff. I like it. So when you before you moved to England, what was your favorite memory in the United States when you raced for that year or two or whatever?
Well, it was really cool to race. I mean, to really grow up doing it, and to be racing 4 or 5 nights a week. Still going to high school, and sometimes got to ditch metal shop because we had to get to, I think Ventura was maybe one of the furthest during the weekdays. So we had to get up to Ventura, so we had to ditch out a little bit early for metal shop. But just all of the atmosphere and all the good fun and the friends that I've met over the years and grown up through racing Speedway, and had branched into other things as well. But and getting a lot of seat time, especially doing 4 and 5 nights a week. And then we had the team racing, of course, which we had only for 1 year. And I was on the Sizzlers, and I think I rode with Fishback, which was way cool, man, riding with the animal. It's like my protector. But that was really bitching to do, something different. And now you got to think about, your teammate and what have you. And then, heck, look what happened. We go to England, go to Europe, and it's all team riding over there. So we had a bit of a taste of it right here in SoCal. So
you had a learning curve though when you were on the Sizzlers. I always picture the Sizzlers like a steakhouse, you know, where it's $5.99 all you can eat salad bar.
Hey, dude, that's what I thought, man. I'm a Sizzler. Do we get to have all the free dinners at Sizzler after the races and all the stuff? Yeah, right. Actually, my neighbor that moved in up in the we lived in Fullerton, that lived next to us, that built later on in life. They used to own the Sizzlers. Their names were the Morgans. They used to own. I don't know if it was the whole conglomerate or if it was just some different restaurants or stuff. But funny you say that. Yeah, they were part of the Sizzlers, but not the race team.
Oh, that's awesome. What was your favorite part of racing on the Sizzlers? Was just racing with the animal and having him protect you?
Yeah, kind of. Plus, also, I love the track at San Bernardino because a lot of people will all vouch there was always plenty of dirt on that track on the outside.
Yeah.
And I was pretty good on the outside. I liked riding the outside. And I might not have only rode with Jim. I might have rode with Mark Cherry as well. And I don't think I rode with Ronnie Preston as a teammate, if you will, as a like a 1 and 2 each race. But just being a part of the camaraderie and the team, and being goddamn me, I get to be part of this stuff. I mean, this is pretty cool. This is stuff like for Rick Woods and Sonny Nutter and Penhall and Bass and all these guys. And here I am. I'm a little younger than them all, but I was part of it, and it was it was kind of an honor, but it was also a huge opportunity for me to take it all in. And I think I did. I wore well doing it, and had some good races and beat some really good people out there.
You were definitely the youngest rider because we were the same age, and I was just kind of starting to get to D1 at the time, and I wanted to race the team, and I look on the program, and there's you again ahead of me, and you were on the Sizzlers.
I had the Sizzler leathers, though. I didn't have the orange ones back then, right?
No, you did. You had the white, I think white, and what was the other color of the Sizzlers?
White,
orange,
blue, and orange. I think across the chest it said Sizzlers. Yeah. Actually,
I remember.
Cool. Pretty cool.
What was your point average on that? Because I noticed the program, and I know it was maybe I actually went in all the programs just recently and saw you had only a 3-point average at the beginning. What was your average when you finished?
I couldn't tell you, man. I could not tell you. I would hope that it would have got better than that for sure. Maybe I was picking up third places all the time, I guess.
I don't know. I just saw one thing.
I can't recall, but I know that later on in the year, or I think I did pretty well. I like to think so, anyways.
You did for your age. You were awesome.
Certainly wasn't the best guy out there, but I was a quick learner.
Oh, I mean, for your age, I mean, you did amazing. That was amazing. You should really be commended for that. Being on the. I was hoping they would be racing 2 years, the team racing, because I wanted to be on the team and no more.
Right. Yeah, I guess it just didn't have the following like the good old, scratch program and some handicap races in there, back from the 50-yard line, and Woods and Nutter and those guys just coming from the 50, or maybe the 60. I think they were halfway around the third and fourth turn before they even started. And so as you got older and you got wiser, then you started getting quicker and quicker, and then you know who to rub on and who not to rub on for sure.
Exactly. Now that's really cool. And I was going to ask you, you had a really good life here in California, and you had sunshine, you had warm weather, you had a nice family and everything. What motivated you to leave all that and to go over to England and race for the whole Vikings in 78? Was he 79 and 80?
79, yep.
79.
Yep.
And then how was your experience racing for Hull?
Well, there again, the reason why I went to Hull is because of Ivan. I wanted to ride with Ivan and learn from Ivan. And then Kelly Moran was already there. So shit, man, that's one of my brothers. So let's go there, because it was kind of in between Hull and Coventry. Ole Olsen came over and we talked a little bit, and I had a tough decision to make. But like I said, Ivan was my hero back in the day, and so that's where I went. When Deb and I arrived at Heathrow, we're like, what the hell are we doing here, man? It's freezing ass cold. I believe it was even by the time we got to Leeds up to Ian's house, it was snowing and it's freezing ass cold. Like, how are we racing this stuff? What the heck are we gonna do? And so yeah, it was a huge culture shock. And then, hey Ian, can we stop at McDonald's, get something to eat on the way? Yeah, right. What McDonald's? There's none of that over here. There's, no fast food, no Taco Bell, no Del Taco, Burger King, or any of that. You want some sausage, eggs, beans, and chips? Sure, why not? And I grew up on pretty much that all the time, because it was a big, good, hearty meal and get some fuel in you, But actually, really had it well down there with the team, the Hull riders, and all of the officials, and Ian and Brian Larner, and all the boys, Frank Offred, Graham Drury, Bobby Beaton, Ivan, Kelly. They really helped me out, and Kelly really did a lot because he was already there for a year, and I was a buddy. So, and plus we lived in the same house with a wonderful, wonderful woman, Veronica Chapman, and her husband and daughter, Rennie. We lived in their house because Adrian, her husband, was a engineer on a freighter, so he was gone a lot. So Ian got it set up with Veronica, and so Kelly and I and Deb moved into Veronica's house with her, and she treated us so sweet and amazing. She was just like our mom from across the pond. I mean, she fed us, she did our washing, she cleaned up after us. My favorite meal, and it still is to this day, that she used to make was pork chops, mashed potatoes, gravy, and Yorkshire pud. And Debbie still makes it now. And that's every time she makes it, it just brings back those memories of staying at Veronica's house. And Kelly and I used to have a little, like a little shed shack out in the back that we used to work on the bikes. And we had a couple Ladas with bike racks on the back and the bumper. And that's how we used to get the bikes around to and from. But, it was a place called Easington, which was all the way down at the North Sea. And just to get into Hull was about 30 to 40-minute drive. If we knew what we knew later on in life, we probably wouldn't have moved down there that far away from everything. Bruce and Bobby, they're all down in the Midlands, and Ronnie Preston is all the way down in Poole or whatever. It's like, Jesus, Poole, that's like the other end of the freaking world. And we used to have to drive at least once a year from Hull because we were in the same league or whatever as them. So it was always, but then we get to go to Middleditch place from Hull to Poole. I think it was, it must have been 400, 500 miles, it seemed like, anyways. But then afterwards, either we go home or we stay at the Middleditch's house, or there at the, what's it called? Buckley House? Jesus. Middleditch? Neil?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we used to stay there at their place there with all those rooms, like a hotel Middleditch.
Very cool.
And I think that's where Ronnie kind of lived too, Ronnie Preston. But yeah, that's Hull was the starting of it all, and just to get to ride there, and maybe it wasn't I know a lot of the other teams and the other guys hated to come up there because the track was rough, it was narrow, and the dirt was black, and it got your bikes filthy dirty. And plus it was a long ways to come, from the Midlands or whatever. You know, where it had all those tracks right in that general area. You know, kind of more concentrated, if you will, than up north. We used to go up to Newcastle, and we went up to Glasgow. You know, rode up there once or twice or whatever, which is there again. It's up further up north, but still quite a drive.
Oh yeah.
But you know what?
Hey, that's cool. So in 1980, you were in the European 21 and under championship, and
Yep.
You finished third place, right? You finished third.
I did. I gave it away, man.
And then you had a runoff, a tiebreaker, because you were tied for third after the end of the night with Eric Gunderson, and you beat the world champion Eric Gunderson
really?
in a tiebreaker.
Yeah, I didn't remember that part of it. I know that I won every single qualifying round leading up to that day in Pocking. I'll never forget. It was a nightmare. I think I have won every single race leading up to, I think it might have been the last race. It might have been the second to last race. I know I was racing against Tommy Knutson, and I was at a gate 3. The track was marble slick on the outside. I came in the turn too hot, spun it around backwards or whatever, laid it down, and they excluded me. So that was basically, I think I might have had 3 or maybe I had 4 wins and a DNF. And Tommy beat me. I don't know how many points he beat me by, and I don't know who got second, but I was pissed. I was so mad at myself. I was so discouraged. I had it, man. All I had to do was, I think, just finish that race. And you know what? That's what I call it, racing. You know, it's a nice.
So you spun out and you got disqualified for spinning out on your first race?
I was the cause of the stoppage, and it might have been my last race. Might have been the last race of the evening, and I think I had, if there was 5 races in a night, I think I had 4 wins. So you know, it is what it is. I got third, and I was pissed, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forgive myself. But you know, it is what it is. You learn by your mistakes. And
One more win, and you would have been the European 21 and under world champion, or whatever they call it, European champion.
Yeah, whatever. One more point. But
one more point.
One more point. Not one
more. Give me a headache.
So, anyways, life's a bitch, right?
Life's a bitch, and then you die. You know.
There you go.
So the same year after that, a little bit missed there, you had a really good year that year. You won the coveted Peter Craven Memorial Cup. What was that like, winning the Peter Craven Cup?
Well, it was pretty cool, you know. Was that at Bellevue? Was that at Bellevue?
Yeah, I think it was at Bellevue.
Bellevue, because Bellevue is huge, you know, huge track. And I liked it there, but I'm sure PC was there and Mort was there, and you know, how did I end up with it? I guess I trapped really good and I held my ground, and one of those, it was just one of those good nights, and I was on a roll, and you know, but pretty darn prestigious, and it's one that you know, I love to say that I was able to get that one.
You're a good rider to win that one. That was awesome, dude. That was really cool. That was cool. That's one on the trophy.
Head down, ass up at that track, man. Don't look back.
You got flying. You're doing that Dennis Sigalos. Nice. You're doing that Dennis Sigalos like move, like wow, I'm flying. I'm Dennis Sigalos. Goodbye.
Only one way to go. That's wide open, baby.
Wide open. You did that one. Very good. Hey, in 1981, you switched teams from the whole Vikings to the Ipswich Witches. The Witches. You're a witch. You don't look like a witch, but you were a witch. And do you remember that team, the Ipswich Witches? And it seemed like you loved it there. And what was that experience like for you in Ipswich?
Well, it was really great. It was really cool. You know, didn't really know much about it. I remember riding there a few times, and there again, coming from Hull, long drive, no matter where you went. But getting down there, had a bitchin' track, and the team, the riders, Billy, Nigel Flatman, Kevin Jolly, Cookie came later on or whatever. But we had a great team, and the track suited me. Had a little banking on it. Had some good dirt on it. It was close to the beach, and that was good. We had Felixstowe right down the road. Not that it's a white sandy beach or anything like what I see you all the time lounging on and having your cocktails and all that good stuff, white sandy beaches and aqua blue water.
Oh yeah,
I had
party. Oh
I had the white
yeah,
orange leathers, and you got the white sandy beaches, bro.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
But Cookie and I used to go when Cookie came on board. We used to go down to Felixstowe. They had a roller skating rink down there, and they also had a little skateboarding park. They had a bowl, a bank bowl, and everything, and then they had like a little path that came down into it, all concrete. We used to spend a lot of time down there. Me and Cookie and Kevin down there, and Darren Fitch, another guy that I didn't bring up, and I need to because he was. We'll get back to Ipswich in just a second, but I met Darren. Kevin and I used to have a shop at a guy named John Booth, okay, called the Low House, and it was just down the street from the little bungalow that I had bought, okay, and so we used to always do the work down at John's house, and then we drive home to it's about a mile away or whatever. So this young kid every day would pull up, and we were working on the bikes on his moped. He'd just sit out in the street on the end of the driveway and watch us. A few days went by, and I'm like, Jesus, why does this kid give up? What does he want or whatever? So I went out to him and I said, hey, what are you doing? He says, I'm just watching you guys. I said, well, if you want to come in and get your hands dirty or get out of here. Dude, he was off that moped in 2 seconds and in the shop and hands greasy and never looked back. Darren was my second mechanic. Kevin was my number one. Darren, you never number him, but Darren held down the fort in England. Darren also went abroad with us. Darren was also in my wedding. If you can imagine that. He's probably, 4 or 5 years younger, but a guy that got stuck into, and he loved the sport. He worked for the post office. So he used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, go into work, and then he'd come home, and that's when we would see him. So he'd hang out with us all night, go to bed at midnight, and then get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do his job at the post. I Instagrammed him today or whatever, and I just said, Darren, you got to remember, you were a big part of my career, my success is being there to hold the fort down and to do some work. Kevin trained him. Taught him. Kevin Hart, best buddy, my brother from another mother, still love him, still see him all the time. But coming down to Ipswich was kind of a breath of fresh air, if you will, because it seemed to be like nicer. Maybe the weather was nicer down there. We were close to the beach where we could go skateboard and we could go water skiing. We went water skiing with some of the guys that used to build my engines at Sculler Engineering. So he had a ski boat. So heck, let's go, man. Throw a wetsuit on and we go water skiing. And
So during the season you were skiing.
And because we used to water ski here, so why not bring a little bit of SoCal to Felixstowe? Why not? And have some fun. But race. John Barry was a good guy. Put me as captain, and I was grateful and loved every minute of it. And I hope I did a good job for the team. I was, Cookie came on board, and I just made it even better. Billy Sanders. My God, he just lived in Felixstowe, and Judy and Belinda and Dino. They were just like our kids. Growing up is, I think I was 21 years old or something like that. We weren't even thinking about kids back then, so they turned into our kids. And Deb loved it. Deb and Judy used to hang out all the time and all that good stuff. Wow. So huge memories and good times. in that. And then, you know, that's it was a little closer to drive, you know, to and from and down, you know, Midlands and to still, I don't know, still like 3 hours or something, at least 3.5 hours one way. And, you know, go down to see BP or go to race down there, see Boogaloo and you know, down the other way. We go hang out with Michael. We used to race, ride motocross bikes at Michael Lee's parents' house. So we go down and hang out with Michael, and we jump on the motorcycles, and him and Cookie and me, we'd take off, and because they had a bitchin' ass like GP track in their backwoods. And we're like, wow, how about this? This is really bitchin', man. You know, we're just living the life. I mean, my God, you know, racing 5-6 nights a week, and then on the off chance, you know, go ride some motocross or go do some water skiing or go do some skateboarding. You know, we turned it into kind of our happening, if you will. So yeah, it's a great place. Loved it.
Man, you had fun over there, man. Hey,
Yeah.
I must say that 1982 race season was a pretty great year for you, and you had an amazing 1982 season. Penhall had a pretty amazing 81, and you had a really amazing 82, and he had an 82 season too. It was good, but your 82 season was especially good. You won the British Open, and you're an American. How did that happen?
Dude, that was a heck of a day, you know. Good hard racing, you know. Obviously, everyone knows it was a runoff between Hans and myself, you know, at the end of the day. And you know, Hans and I, you know, I saw him at the Golden Helmet 2 years ago, and it was so bitching to catch up with him and to hang out. And that race never came up. Or the one at White City where I did the big wheelie and whatever, that never came up. I understand why it happened now. But anyways, it was really a great race. I mean, you know, Hans made the trap on me, and I just kept on trying to wind up around the outside. And I was outside of him. He made that little bit of a mistake, and it slowed his momentum. And I had to run around the outside, and then off I went. And you know, it was like mid race, so he tried for 2 laps to get me back again. He reeled me in a little bit, but you know, it was my day, and you know, it was a hell of a race, and got the $5,000, and it was really a spectacular day for me. It's one I'll never forget for sure.
An American winning the British Open. That's awesome. Right. And 5,000 quid. Was it quid? 5,000 quid?
That was before like Tiger Woods, you know, and you know, the British Open or all these American golfers. Well, I did it on the motorcycle.
That is cool. You had a really good 82 season, and also you were the world's best pairs champion in 82 with Boogaloo Bobby Schwartz. And you and Bobby were in Sydney, Australia for that event, and you totally had both of you had a totally dominating performance. You beat everybody. Ole Olsen, Hans Nelson, Peter Collins, Kenny Carter, and the local rider, Billy Sanders. You and Bobby had a perfect night of 30 points. When you raced, you had a 5-1. You got 5 points in your team racing, and the other team got 1 the whole night. So what happened with that? You guys were kicking some serious butt.
We did. You know, that's all there is to say about it, man. We were pumped. We were amped. Boogaloo had won the year prior with BP. And it wasn't nowhere kind of a runaway, if you will, when they won in 81. But 82 was our night, man. We had those big Carlisle 110 millimeter tires on, and wherever we put those bikes, you know, the bikes would hook up like crazy. And when we went into it, Bobby loves the inside. I love to ride the outside, like I've told you all night long. That's how it was going to run. He was out of gate 1 and 2. I was going to be out of 3 and 4 all night long. We both made dynamite starts. You know, I think we were only behind in one heat, and Bobby was leading it, and he kind of moved out a little bit and blocked whoever was trying to come around the outside. Then I come up the inside, Next turn, Bobby dropped on the inside. I went to the outside, and that was it. So it was our night, man. It was spectacular for us, unbelievable. The first world championship at Liverpool Raceway, which was really bitching. No fences around that track, so that was, maybe you could let it hang out a little bit harder because you weren't worried about rubbing into a fence, But it was
30 points. God.
Yeah, I think it's
you swept the program.
There's either we're the only ones to win on a maximum, or we're tied with way back when Americans or someone got a maximum score. But we'll take
That's
it.
Amazing.
It was unbelievable. Yeah, it was really a bitch night.
You were riding Ole Olsen, dude. You're riding and Peter Collins and Carter and Sanders and Nelson. You guys blew all these legends out of the water.
Yeah, they were, they're all my heroes too, and they're all, hard racers, hard workers, and passionate about their sport, as I was too. If you're not, you might as well get out of it.
Yeah, exactly, totally. And 1982 was, like I say, a good year for you. It just kept going on and on and on. Never stopped. You had a good year in '82. Right. And also, you were on the podium in the World Final. Do you remember the Los Angeles Coliseum World Final? You and your childhood buddy, Bruce, were on the podium together. What was that like?
Yeah, it was spectacular. Once we heard that the race was going to be there, we were like, oh man, we were stoked, and I'm sure BP was too, with all the stuff going on in his life and with the movies or the TV shows and all that, which was really bitching for him. Being a home track, going to have a lot of people, friends and family, busloads of friends and family and high school buddies and what have you coming to the racetrack. I knew that, I needed to be on my game, as well as a lot of people needed to be on their game. And, start right from the get-go. I had a good start, won my first heat, and can't remember how it all went from there. I know I got beat by Bruce and I got beat by Les Collins. And so Bruce won it, Les got second, and I got third. So that's kind of how it went. And, there was some entertainment in between there, with Bruce and Kenny Carter and, all that tobacco and I'd have done the same thing though if I was BP for sure. Anyone would have. So no harm, no foul there. But when I walked into the stadium, I just remember thinking to myself, I want to be on that stagecoach, because Knott's Berry Farm had brought down a stagecoach, and that's how they kind of introduced all the riders, and then we got to go on the stagecoach afterwards as first, second, and third. So I made the stagecoach, man. You
were on that coach. That's bitching, dude.
I was on the coach. I was a cowboy for a few minutes, man, and to be up there with my best mate and our Les, which all the Collins clan are really like extended family, if you will. PC, our Les, our Phil, our Neil. I mean, a huge family of theirs, but also it branched off into being a part of our family. And I know PC came over here a few times, and Phil lives over here now, man. He lives up in Pismo. So
he lives here.
Yeah, he got converted to California, which was cool. We don't see enough of them, for sure. It's how life is. You grow up and you kind of grow apart a little bit, but never to be forgotten. But that night was unbelievable. I got my name up on the billboard under the arches and all that. So it was very memorable for sure.
I mean, you, Penha, and Collins. I mean, that's a pretty amazing podium right there. I'd take that any day.
Yeah, and I did. Yeah, absolutely.
Take that one. That was great. And it was amazing night. We all loved that night, and we're all cheering for you and Bruce, and you guys you didn't let us down.
Right. Well, good. I'm glad. Thank you.
You made us all proud, all the hometown people proud of you and Bruce.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Not too bad for a couple
And
yahoos.
a couple of goofballs.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, well, you didn't stop there in 82 because 1983, you were the first American to win the prestigious Golden Helmet in Czechoslovakia. To this day that I know, you're the only American rider to ever win the Golden Helmet, the prestigious Golden Helmet in Czechoslovakia. What's up with that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. How true it is. Uh, I rode there twice, and on the second time, I ended up winning it. Um, it's a very, very prestigious race in Checo. It was Checo then, the Czech Republic now, for the better. And big track, and I remember it was fairly rough. Uh, obviously a lot of places that we go, I don't speak any other language except for English, but a lot of those people did, and I can kind of communicate. And met up with this guy named Joe. I can't remember his last name, and I met up with him 2 years ago at the 70th running of the Golden Helmet, and he hadn't changed a bit. And he was my mechanic. Kevin couldn't make it because he had to be home back in England because I was flying from Checo right back on Monday to ride at Reading or something like that. So Kevin had to get the bikes ready, fly in to Heathrow, drive down to Reading and race. So I had to borrow a mechanic, and he was a great guy. We couldn't speak together because he didn't speak any English. I didn't speak any Czech. So they dressed him in Vans tennis shoes, overalls, gave him some Vans shoes and a hat. Said, "Come on, man, let's go." And we had good races all day long and made the final. And then in the final, there was Olsen, there was Nielsen, there was Yuri Stansel. I think we even went to Yuri's house. We hung out with Yuri for a day or two, him and his wife and his family. We went down to some lake right near their house and laid in the sun and got burned and all that kind of good stuff. But, there again, another friend that I'll never forget and they always remember is Yuri and his family. Just great people. But, to race with those guys there again. And, like I said, I had a good day moving forward, made the quarterfinals, made the final. And I don't think I made the start, but I remember passing Ole around the outside and won it. And I did have to pass Ole. I can't remember all the details if Yuri was in the mix at that time, but I remember passing Olsen around the outside and going, "That's it, man, I got it." And sure enough,
Olsen was hard to pass, wasn't he? Olsen was hard.
Sorry? I'm sorry.
Ole Olsen was hard to pass.
Yeah. Well, Ole's Ole. Ole knows. He knows where you are, even though he can't see you back there. He knows where you are. Hell of a rider, hell of an accomplished rider. I think he's got 6 golden helmets. So Yuri's got 4 or 5 or something like that. Gunnarsson's got a couple, 2 or 3. I got 1, but my career was kind of cut short a little bit there. Unfortunately, but I could walk away holding my head high that I'm still the only American to ever win it, still to this day. So, I got it up in my closet up there, and I don't display any of my stuff. Kind of been there and done that, and the house is the house, and my cave out here, I'm getting better and better at. But I don't want to bring that kind of stuff out here in the live near the beach, salt water and stuff like that, and it'll corrode it. And so I just keep it covered up and take it out every once in a while. Wear it around the house naked.
You got a nice 450 there. Is that a 450?
You're breaking up, Brian.
Is that a 450 Honda you have in the garage? 450?
I think you're saying that's a 450. That's my son's 125.
Oh.
I got my 450 and the 250. Look, I got an Alan Bellum bike cover that Cookie gave me sitting on my 450. And
nice.
that 81 bike's a Suzuki 250, and that's actually Connor Penhall's old practice bike that I bought off of BP.
That was his race bike when he's racing together?
It was Connor's and Ryan's practice bike.
Oh,
so
nice.
they were BP was getting rid of it. And he says, "Hey, you want to buy it? I need to." And I said, "Yeah, I need to buy a motorcycle." Sure. So he fixed me up with the motorcycle, the stand, and a fuel can, and a helmet, and a set of riding pants and jersey. And I was good, man. I had my old pair of, I still wear my old Malcolm Smith boots that I got from Malcolm when I was sponsored by Malcolm Smith. Old leather boots, and I still wear them, man. Can't believe it.
So that's cool. You got some nice bikes there.
Yeah, my son and I go riding all the time. It's just such good, clean fun, and to be able to hang out with my boy. He still likes me and stuff. Imagine that. So we go out and snow ski, water ski, dirt bike, wakeboard, and snowboard, all the stuff that fathers and sons should do.
That's awesome. Somebody asked me a question, where did I go riding in Orange? And actually, I lived in Fullerton by where you were riding, and I was riding on Bass and Cherry over by some of the things over there for a while in Fullerton, going up Bass and Cherry from the 91.
Yeah,
there's lots of land.
That big hill. There's a big hill over there, right?
The hill.
Still there.
That's it.
Still there too.
That's it. The big hill. Bass and Cherry.
Yeah, Bass and Cherry.
And I rode. that was fun.
Yeah, we rode.
That was fun. I rode there.
Bass and Cherry and Brea Boulevard was normally as far as we would go from Fullerton, because we would have to cross over the main streets on the mini bikes.
Not good.
The cops didn't like that.
No. You had to stay this side of Brea and Bass and Cherry, and there's lots of land to drive around the oil fields and refineries.
That's where we went, the oil fields. Absolutely. Yep, for sure.
And when I grew up in Orange also, and I was riding at the creek, at the Santiago Creek, and then every day after school, I would have a course I would do. I was in like junior high. We were like the same age, and we were riding probably like the different places, but at the same time. And I would ride down the railroad tracks. They had these old railroad tracks. There no more train. And then I used to go up to the Orange Hills, like the Orange Hill restaurant, that area up there, Orange Hills.
Yep.
And I used to drive up, I used to every day hill climb to the top of the Orange Hill, then come down.
All right. See, if you would have kept on going, you would have made it to Saddleback.
Yeah. Just keep going up the hill.
Yeah, because Saddleback right past that.
Yeah, that was my home right there. So, I mean, I never rode my bike to Saddleback, but my mom used to drive me in her car when I raced and rode. And I used to go riding with Paul Belisle. Do you know Paul Belisle? Remember him?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember Paul.
Yeah, we were riding buddies at the time, and we used to go riding all the time. He got me into Speedway and like riding bicycles. We used to go sliding like you and Bruce used to knock those old ladies over. Yeah, we weren't as good. You guys were radical dudes, and we were pretty close. We used to go jumping off of the roof on bicycles into the pool, like.
I see. Yeah, you were wild. Everyone had their wild streak in it, Some just a little bit different than others, but everyone had a streak.
I think Speedway riders are all the same. They're all like a little crazy.
I think you got to be a little bit, you got to be a little, kind of live on the edge a little bit, Riding a motorcycle with no transmission, no brakes, and barely any suspension. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's the answer. Is I used to go riding all over that place, and it was a lot of fun. And one of the things we had a speedway. We had a speedway track at the school, at the high school, El Medina High School track field. Like you rode there, but we rode bicycles, and we were riding one time, and Paul said, "Guess," because I used to be pretty good. Like I don't like to lose that much. I'm kind of like you. I'm competitive. I don't like to be like last place. I hate to lose. Sure. I get mad.
Yeah.
Who likes to lose? Even when we raced, I said, I'm going to beat Dennis Sigalos. Oh, yeah, right. So we raced on this field, this a track, and then Paul Blyle said, "Guess what, Brian? We have a special guest coming tomorrow to watch you race. Watch us all race." We raced the bicycle speedway. We had cones and stuff, and we had real races and stuff. I said, "Who's coming?" And she said, "My sister's boyfriend, Sumner McKnight."
No.
Do you know Sumner McKnight?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There again, Sumner was a little older than I was, and shit, I couldn't even go into the bars after the races like all those guys were doing. I had to stay outside because I wasn't old enough. Felt deprived. But yeah, absolutely, I remember Sumner. Yeah, absolutely.
He's a friend of mine on Facebook, and I told Sumner, "Hey, come on my show, Sumner. We need to talk." And he's like hiding from me.
I'll bet you he's got some stories.
I want to know what his stories are.
Yeah.
So Sumner came and watched us race that one day, and I said to myself, because I was just really dreaming of being a speedway rider my whole life, and I was just a little poor kid, and I'm like, I'm gonna win. Sumner McKnight is watching. I'm gonna win, and I won those races.
Nice. All right, brother. That's good stuff.
I made sure Sumner saw me as number one, but nothing ever happened.
Right, yeah, but yeah, it never gets old on being the winner, though. That's for sure.
No, I was so competitive, and even like I say, when I raced you, I was mad, and I'm like, "Why are you mad? This guy's like a D1 rider, and you're like, a D4 rider."
A good loser is a consistent loser.
I didn't like to lose, but I got some practice from Doug Farrell that off season because I had just rode like 2 times. I mean, I didn't even have any seat time, and he took my seat off, took the 22 off, and he really shaped me up. So I was able to. I went to D1 the next year.
Oh right, yeah, sure, gotcha.
Yeah, practice makes good.
Absolutely.
So let's see, where were we here? We were talking about you went ahead and let's see.
We were in Checo last.
We were talking. We got off the subject. So you were in 1983. You won the American final in Long Beach with like 15 points. Is that true? You just went ahead and blew everybody away with a max 15 at the American final in '83.
Yeah, I think I did it twice because I know I got either 2 or 3 wins there because that was our qualifying round, and then the last time I was there obviously was the night that I crashed and broke my ankle, and that was it, But yeah. I was pretty quick, and a lot of the guys didn't ride the big tracks, being from around here, unless they came from England, like the Morans or whatever. Obviously they were fast, and the rest of them that were over and spending some time in England with the larger tracks. But there again, man, I was on, and you have good nights when you're on. You can't do anything wrong, and you make the starts, and that's a big, huge way to stay in the front is if you start out in the front, right?
Yeah, exactly. You go in the lead and you don't let that lead go. You block people, you put them in the wall, you break their leg, whatever. You want to stay in first place.
Try to pass me. I dare you, right? But I had some good, some great evenings there, some maximums, and then there again, it was probably the worst night of my life as well on that track.
Yeah. 84? You're only 25 years old, and then you had that accident. I guess you broke your leg or something. What happened? You just crashed or something?
Yeah, no, actually, I crashed all right. I remember Sammy Hermolenko was there, and we just started using these. I wasn't having a real good night this particular night. We started using a smaller depth tread on the tires, and I was used to the big Carlisles and what have you. So it was a learning curve for me, and I kept on. I couldn't get it dialed in real well, and Sammy beat me out of the start. And Sammy's style was completely opposite from mine, and everyone has their own style. And I certainly don't fault him for, any of it or what have you. But, and I was trying to round him up. And when he comes in the turn, he comes in a ton and then just parks it and then straightens it back out and goes straight. Myself, I like to kind of ride around. And so when I'm riding around and now he's coming in the turn hot and he parks it, now I'm going straight for him and I'm going to T-bone him. So I slide the bike down sideways, and I'll show you something else. I laid the bike down sideways and it spun around backwards, and that's it.
Oh my God.
You see my foot hit the ground? That's
yeah.
That's broke it and dislocated it. So that was the career ender right there. Long Beach.
Yikes. And you're only 25 years old. You were just a young pup yourself. You weren't an old man at 25. That was pretty young.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
I was still ready to go, man. Still ready to go. And then, leading on to the next page kind of after that is, went back to England. Well, I had as a cast for the rest of the year, so I was done for the year kind of thing. And so when I was off over here, Billy Sanders had killed himself, which was a real huge shocker and traumatic for everyone in the Speedway family. I mean, oh my gosh. And I was here in the broken, ankle and what have you. And so I rounded up and we flew back and kind of hung around at the house. So I still had my house over there. I had to take care of that. And I don't think Deb came back often, really at that time because no need. We're not doing any racing or anything like that. So just kind of come there, hung around, and then, end of the year came back here and, got the cast off and ready to start the new year. And that was, I think I was racing I just started racing for Wolverhampton then. And I think I only did, I don't know, 13 races or something for Wolverhampton. And that's when I broke my ankle. And then when I came back, I don't know, I was being loaned to Ipswich. And my first night back, I was racing at Ipswich and I was in third place. And this young Swede, can't remember his name, all gung-ho. And I was on the outside and he tried to go around me. And we got hooked together. And my foot that I just got done getting healed up, my right foot that's on the peg, got stuck in his back chain and sprocket. And
no.
I had to have 10 stitches put in the top of my foot after that night. First night back after my broken ankle. And I said, you know what? I think I'm done. I don't feel it anymore. And after that second incident, I said, what the hell? I mean, my God, I wasn't even in the hunt for the lead or anything like that. And he's a young kid, he's got to go for it. No worries, man. But, it rubbed me the wrong way and put us both through the fence and got stitches put in the top of my foot. I think the next night I had to go race the Knockout Cup for Ipswich down in Swindon and, cut the boot open, put the boot on, tape it up and go riding. And actually that happened at Coliseum too. 2 weeks prior to that, Schwartzy and I came together at Coventry or at Cradley, and the clutch, right? And it has all those nuts on it. Well, we came right after the start and my left foot got in between his bike and it hit my clutch and hit one of those nuts and it fractured my ankle. It fractured that big bone in your ankle. So I had to come home and put a screw in it so I could race the world championship at the Coliseum. So I still have a screw in my ankle now. But there you have it. The lifestyle of a racer. So after that, I kind of gave up and I just lost all the wind out of my sails. And, I had something to look forward to coming back home, working with my dad because I was getting hounded by him. When are you going to give that up? Stop playing all the time and get serious with a job and working and a family. And so, that's kind of what I did.
Yeah. One question I always wanted to know, because I know you or Bruce were really good. I saw you guys race that one race. I think it was in Ipswich when it was all foggy and you and Bruce were riding and you couldn't see. And Bruce, I think you and Bruce did really well. You were the captain of Ipswich and Bruce was the captain of Cradley. And you
Yeah.
guys were racing in the fog. And I was like, I don't like that. But I remember that video. And I want to talk to Bruce about that race.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you remember that? You guys
I,
go, Dennis Sigalos in the fog. You can't see him, but he's there.
I remember racing at Halifax in the snow though, and they cut it short.
Yeah.
You just couldn't see. You just couldn't see.
Oh,
I was
in the
Kenny.
snow.
Yeah, you just
Did you
couldn't.
put spikes on your tires like
No,
the
no,
like
it wasn't.
the
It wasn't. It wasn't. I
No.
all built up, but it was just the snow was coming down. You could not see. You know, so they called it.
Yeah, you can't ride like that. It's crazy.
No.
So my question, Siggy, is I was wondering, I know you guys did really well together, you and Bruce and stuff, but you guys never were on the same British League team. You guys always were on different teams, I think the whole career. And
Yes.
why didn't you guys get together? Because you're such good friends and make a super team, Siggy and BP. That would be a good team.
Well, in those days it wasn't us. I mean, we didn't really have any choice. I know I didn't, anyways. I was like a football player getting traded from team to team, and that's kind of how it went. And you can only have a couple good riders, then you have to have a little up and coming riders to kind of even all the teams out throughout all of England. So you couldn't have, Ole Olsen, Ivan Major, Bruce Penhall, PC all on the same team. That wouldn't be real fair, would it?
I think you would win that year. You'd be the winner.
So that's kind of what happened. And I know that's why I got traded to Wolverhampton from Ipswich, is they wanted to bring Cookie on board and bring someone else on board. So they got two better guys versus, and they just, hey, move on, Siggy. So, I didn't have any choice in the matter. But, I love Wolverhampton. Don't get me wrong. It was a different world for me in the Midlands. But, I had some great supporters and fans and, loved the track and, loved just, riding, period. But nothing against Wolverhampton. I loved all the teams that I rode for, and I did the best I could for all of them.
Well, they had a great rider if they had you on their team. Any team would want Dennis Sigalos in the 80s on his team. So that was awesome. You're awesome, man. You're good. So what do you do nowadays to keep you busy? You ride motorcycles, you play with your kids and hang out and work and stuff?
My daughter Avalon's 30, and she lives down in Dana Point area. And my son Arden, he's living with us now. He's 21, and he works for Honda Motorcycles on Beach Boulevard in Huntington Beach, doing very well for himself. And kind of trying to get things settled down so he can get his own place and move out and what have you. But him and I spent a lot of time together. We used to do more than we do now, get out and go riding. And, the P's got this lake house that they bought out near Barstow there. And we're always invited to go out there. So we ride out there. We wakeboard, we water ski. We just boat around out there at their private water ski lake out there. And so just doing a lot of riding and, Adelanto, ride there. We go out to Kauai, out to the track. We used to go ride a Milestone quite a bit out in Riverside, as he was growing up from his peewee all the way up to the 250. He just got this 125 because he wanted to get a 125. So, just kind of riding and, being around. I do a lot of honeydews and tinkering and, building crap and just keeping myself busy, watched all car races, keep up with my nephew, Connor DeFelipe. He's a factory BMW driver who has won the 24-hour Daytona before. He's won the 24-hour Nürburgring. He's won the 12-hour Sebring. The kid's got talent. And, this year's been kind of a messed up year with the COVID and all that, all kinds of racing. He was able to race, but no fans in the stands. But we all kind of follow him. I can kind of get my race face on when he's out there racing. but I have no part of it. I just love to watch him and watch the racing. And, you know, I guess kind of thank goodness my son didn't turn out to be a racer. You know, for whatever reason, he could have been, as far as I'm concerned, but I'm kind of glad because I know a lot of hospitals are involved when you're a racer, and, you know, the whole life is committed to racing. You know, he's a well-rounded young man now, you know, rides motocross, like I said, water skis, snowboards, mountain bikes, not so much mountain bike, but the big wheel BMX bikes where they're doing the double jumps and all that. So he does that. So he does, and he surfs like crazy. We live here in Newport, so he just, you know, growing up, he'd jump on his bicycle and ride down to the beach and go surfing all day. So I think it was, you know, if you ask him, he says, I wish I would have raced. But, you know, all said and done, he's had a pretty good life as well. And I'm just really cool to be part of it. Deb and I both, with both of our kids growing up, we've been there, and, you know, with all of our family and friends, it's just been, really, really vision. And then, you
guys
know,
have a great
10 years after we retired, after I retired, 94, Bruce and I started racing boats, right?
Yeah. What happened with that?
Well, we raced 5 years together, and we raced 6 years together. We were 5-time world champions and speed record.
Wow.
Rookie of the years, and our boat ran just under 150 miles an hour. So, and there again, you know, BP and I together, and with all the family there as well, all of our kids, my dad, all his family, Connor, Ryan, Mackenzie, you know, Avalon and Arden. These are the, show you one quick more time. So this was our first boat. Right?
Beautiful.
Wow,
Gorgeous.
that was a 38-foot Scarab. And then
Nice.
this was our second boat.
Wow.
This was our second boat. That one went just under 150 miles an hour. And then after Bruce and I retired from racing in end of 99, I started racing this boat with a company called Edderay Squeegees. And I throttled their boat, and they just paid me to come to the racetrack and throttle the boat and have a good time. So I couldn't complain. So I got one more world championship out of that as well. So it's been an exciting.
So you and Bruce won world championships, and Bruce and you were both kind of the team member, and you also like won world championships in 2 sports, really, right? And that kind of thing.
We are, and I think we're the only guys to ever win 2 world motorsports world championships in 2 different sports.
Jeez, amazing.
So, as luck as it,
how fast?
We had a lot of fun and spent a lot of money and had a lot of aggro, but it was all worth it in the end. We all looked back and we're all safe and didn't hurt anyone, didn't hurt ourselves too bad. So we'll take it.
Yeah. Going 150 miles an hour on a boat, it can be dangerous if something happens.
Yeah. And by the time you figure out something's happened, it's too late.
How fast did the yellow boat go? Did it go fast, the last one?
Our last boat? Or my last boat that I ran?
The yellow one? The one you showed me, the yellow?
Yeah, it only ran 110.
Oh, nothing.
Piece of cake.
110. Oh, that's fast. That's still fast.
Yeah, it's fast.
Oh.
The Scarab went 120, and then the last one, the big fountain, 42 feet long, went just under 150.
Dang.
So, 3,000 horsepower, baby.
When I come to the States, I'll come riding. We'll go riding in motorcycles together. I'll come over. Is that okay?
Let's go. Yeah, I got one you could ride even. No problem.
I don't have one there, so you have to give me a loaner.
Like I said, I got one right here, man. No worries.
Well, I'll call you and we'll go riding. I would like that. I'm not a motocross rider. I'm not a motocross rider.
Just go out for a good time. That's all it's about. Is just go out for fun and get.
I can do wheelies though. I can do good wheelies.
It's all about the fresh air and the camaraderie, man.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. I'd love to go out with you when I come and visit. So that would be it. And I want to race Speedway again. I have my uniform here somewhere. Where is it? There's my Speedway uniform right there. And
Okay.
I want to ride again. I want to pull it on and maybe get the last place finish.
You're a better man than I, man. I haven't been on one. Oh boy, since I
Oh,
think, oh God, it's got to be 30. Shit, I can't. I think it was Greg Hancock's testimonial was the last time I raced. I think
wow.
that was a long time ago, man. Bruce and I did a match race at Coventry. I think it was in and out. That was 21 years ago because my son's 21 years old and he was conceived over there.
Wow. That's a long time. I bet you could go out and win a D1 main if you got a couple laps practice. You're so good. You
Yeah,
could definitely go out and
and I
I come back and
got a boy and a beautiful girl too. So my life is bowl of cherries, man. Love it.
that's awesome. So anything else my friend Dennis would like to say before we conclude the show? Anything else?
I
Any other?
Dude, I think we kind of hit on everything, real quickly. And I must say, it's been a pleasure. I watch your shows. I'm not really, as you know, by trying to get set up and everything. Me and Deb were arguing each other because I don't know jack about computers and this, and that. What do you mean copy and paste? And what's all, oh man, Brian. And I was just about ready to go, you know what, dude? You got to come here and fix it up for me or set it up for me. Or can't we just do a FaceTime or something? But
We were a couple minutes late. I know.
and my apologies. My apologies. That's and I started, dude. I started at about 20 minutes after 5 because I got home early tonight. So I started about 20 minutes after 5 trying to get this rounded up. So at least Deb did her due diligence and stayed vigilant on the whole thing and got it up and running for us. But it's been a pleasure talking with you and
Thank
seeing you
you.
again. And
Yeah, it's great.
I'll see you on
Did
the
you
tube.
remember me?
I
Did
do
you remember me?
absolutely I do. I don't remember all the times, and you weren't. Not that you're a bad guy or I was a stuck-up dude, but we had our crew that we kind of hung out with, and yes. Oh, okay. Oh, Deb's saying I got to close the garage door. You're so loud. You're waking up all the neighbors. Let me close the door real quick.
That's good. You're loud. We can hear you. Oh, that is good. You got a good wife there to help you get online for the stream. So I want to thank you, Deb. Thank you, Deb, for helping Dennis and I get connected tonight.
I'll let her know. I'll let her know that for sure. For sure. But
yeah,
it's really
definitely.
Been a pleasure, Brian, and thanks so much for all your hard work and spreading the love out there and pumping up Speedway. We want to keep it going for years, and we just got to get back to some kind of racing period after COVID's over here.
Exactly.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Thank you so much for your time and all your Speedway stories and for visiting us here in the Hive. I'm sure everybody learned something new about Dennis Sigalos tonight, and we're really excited to have you on the show and hear about the history. And we just had an amazing show with Dennis, and thank you so much. And respect to Mr. Dennis Sigalos.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it, bud. Good job.
Thank you. You're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Dennis Sigalos. Siggy's in the house. Thank you, Dennis. Take care. We'll talk. We'll go riding soon, okay?
Anytime. I'm ready. I was born ready.
Oh, you're awesome, dude. Thank you so much. Peace. Okay, thank you. I'm going to try to get on the single one here. Okay, that was Dennis Sigalos, Siggy. And he was awesome. I mean, I learned a lot from Dennis tonight. So he's just an amazing guy, amazing writer. And we want to wish all of you, including the Sigalos family, and all of you a Merry Christmas, because Christmas is coming very fast. And we're going to go do a Christmas beach party after the show. So we're going to be on the beach, drinking coconut juice, having a good time. So we want to thank you so much for joining us. We had that amazing show tonight. with the legendary Siggy, and we have other great writers and announcers. We have Larry Motormouth Huffman going to be on the show when he can get his webcam fixed. And Larry's like, I can't get my webcam fixed. I said, Larry, fix your webcam. And we'll probably have to wait till after Christmas because Christmas is coming pretty fast. And we have Bruce the Fox Penhall. Do you remember number 45 and number 1, Bruce Penhall? He's going to be joining us, and we're going to have a lot of fun with the Fox. So that's going to be fun. We have Gene Woods, the brother of the Rocket, Rick Woods. Gene Woods is going to be on the show. And we're going to go ahead with Larry Costa, Bobby Hunter, and the list goes on and on. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done, and ring the notification bell so you can receive all the different videos and live streams. We're going to have more. We got a lot more lined up. So thank you so much, and we appreciate you joining the show, The Siggy Show. And I hope you enjoyed it. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in 2021. From the Beehive, we will see you soon. So thank you so much, and God bless, and we'll talk to you the next show. Take care.